Everyone gasses on about 14ers in Colorado, but the best summit hikes in the state aren't found at 14,000 feet. I bet you probably haven't heard of the last one on this list. I'm Meg Atterbury, and I've climbed over 70 mountains across Colorado, and this is an exclusive look at the absolute must-do summit hikes in the Centennial State. First up, you can't miss Mount Sniktau for sunset. It is a classic and a really great beginner mountain summit. I love visiting at sunset because this one is well known and you have fewer people around. Just be aware that even though it's only 3.6 miles with 1,500 feet of gain, it's still tough because you top out at 13,234 feet. You cannot miss Square Top Mountain. There's something really satisfying about hiking up to this peak, and it's probably that you get to wave at the hundreds of people on nearby Mount Bierstadt while you enjoy some quiet. This is a lovely peak with a trail to the top that passes a few alpine lakes along the way. The big downside here is that it shares a parking lot with Mount Bierstadt, one of the most crowded hikes in the state, so plan accordingly. Crystal Peak is another sleeper pick for a great beginner mountain climb. If you have a 4x4 capable vehicle, you can drive to Crystal Lake, and it's about an hour-and-a-half walk to the summit from here. If not, you can take a trail to bypass most of the road walking to reach the top. It's 9.5 miles with 3,500 feet of gain from the lower parking area. You cut off about 6-ish miles and 2,000 feet of gain from the top of the 4x4 road. South Arapaho Peak is another one of those beautiful Colorado hikes that all of the locals do. I've actually done every single named route on this peak. The Indian Peaks Wilderness is the most stunning mountain range near Denver. Personally, I think it's prettier than Rocky Mountain National Park, and that's saying something. You'll need some careful driving in an SUV or a high clearance vehicle to reach the trailhead, but from here the views start off almost immediately after you get through the trees. At 8.4 miles long with 3,200 feet of gain, it's a bigger day. And lastly, there is Lenawee. Many people haven't heard of this peak, and that's probably because there's only parking for about 5 cars at the trailhead, meaning you need to get here early. I found this summit to be really interesting with idyllic waterfalls, a cool alpine basin, and a very exposed ridge walking for a hiking peak. However, it doesn't have an official trail after a certain point, so it should only be attempted by more experienced summit hikers. The exposure can be a bit big if you're not ready for it, and there are a few rocks to navigate around, making it the hardest hike on this list. With 3,200 feet of gain on a 7.4 mile round trip romp, it's certainly steep too. I don't believe in gatekeeping summits, but I do believe in safety. Hiking in the mountains is dangerous. Your safety is in your hands. Be sure to research your route, check recent conditions, avoid these hikes in winter without proper avalanche knowledge, and start early. Check the show notes down below for more handy resources on safety and visiting responsibly. I've spent a decade summiting mountains in Colorado, and this just scratches the surface, so let me know if you want a part 2 of this video down below. And don't forget to check out my next video that features in-depth tips for getting out on an incredible mountain hike.